Which IDs do I want buffed by me? These are ideas I'm just throwing out. This video contains no Kanto 9 spoilers. Hey everyone, as a heads up before the video actually properly starts, I am no game designer whatsoever. I have no actual say on Limbus's balancing, and besides every Rupture ID plagued with 15-3 and the Maohei show, I think they've been handling things very well. I just wanted to share some ideas I had in mind for IDs I really like that I want to see glow up for from buffs or a potential Uptype 5. Please keep comments respectful and understanding. This is a place to share ideas and have fun, not put each other down. Thank you. Thing to note, Threadspin V has been confirmed. The claim of Uptype 5 actually has some merit behind it, due to KJH directly confirming Threadspin V is going to exist soon enough. In the anniversary livestream, KJH highlighted how some ego released during Season 1 were underpowered and needed a bit of love and support, specifically showcase FMF Yisang, saying that Threadspin V would exist to buff them directly to give them that little push to make them more relevant. I'm not saying Uptype 5 is going to exist today, tomorrow, or even in the coming year. However, it is 100% in the realm of possibility due to the confirmed existence of Threadspin V. Before the video begins, not a lot of you know this, but I actually draw, haven't had the motivation to until recently. I've been challenging myself to draw PM characters every day for 30 days. Check out some of the work I've been making recently. I'm proud of them. Let's get started with the idea that inspired this entire video. Kurokumo clan Wakashu Honglu. Kurolu actually is probably one of my favorite IDs I've utilized in recent, especially being a supportive bleed unit to get potency stacks up early in a fight, thanks to his passive providing a bleed +3 potency affliction on the final coin of his skill. He also has an interesting reuse for his skill too, being if the enemy has less than 4 bleed count, he will reuse the first 2 coins of his skill too, which is only 2 coins, or 4 coins in total. Stacked with his passive, this can inflict 9 bleed potency in one skill. 9 bleed potency is quite nice for a 2-star of his time, and that's even further amplified by the Kurokumo Captain ID for a total of 13 bleed potency on the skill. On par of Kuro Cliff's potency affliction, one of the best bleed IDs in the entire game. Feel like I'll be skinned alive if I don't mention he inflicts 6 paralyze. His pretty notable downsides: lack of power conditionals and the fact his reuse is only usable before attacking, and it cannot be utilized if the target has 4+ bleed count. I get it, he's a supported bleed ID with burst potency upkeep early on. That makes sense. However, max clashing of motherfucking 13? What the hell? I get that he's not meant to be a main clasher or anything, but not a clasher at all is diabolical work. He needs some help for that. Desperately. Also, Cloud Cutter reuse being limited to targets with low bleed count makes sense. However, I think the reuse mechanics should fully go away if that's the case. Pretty simple buff ideas for him. Since the most notable thing of his kit is conditionals that coincide directly with bleed count, why not add coin power with every 2 bleed count on an enemy for a max of 4 on his skill 3? Skill 1 would have a similar effect, but for base power dependent on bleed potency. This would bring his overall clashing maximum to 25 on his skill 3. Not the best, but definitely sustainable and usable as a subclasher. Another buff idea I had in mind was for his skill 2, where before its attack is changed to combat start, making his skill 2 roll 21 in a clash. Alongside that change, however, make it so the reuse conditional is kept for targets over 4 bleed count, but only reuses the first coin once for a total of 3 coins, bringing the clashing value to 17. This would encourage a unique playstyle for even more thought towards balancing bleed count and spiking up your potency that would complement this ID in his design heavily. Also change his block to a less skill.
Hello, this is Allergy Jelly from Allergy Jelly.
Next up for IDs I want to see buffed. 2-for-1 deal. This is actually less about one ID, but more about 2 IDs and the special type of tremor they share. Tremor Hemorrhage is notably one of the worst types of tremor despite being a tremor type combined with arguably the best SAS effect in the game. Do I think the IDs themselves need buffs? No. Owl Gregor is awesome and Karshu is one of the best Ryoshis in the game. However, their tremor types are fundamentally flawed and bring more harm than good due to them being designed to mimic Tremor Scorch, which is tied to Burn with insanely easy upkeep, compared to Bleed, which requires active upkeep with spending count being detrimental. I believe there are two different roads they could have taken for this. Reworked hemorrhage. I have two solutions to improving tremor hemorrhage. The first is to completely get rid of the factor of this being a damaging type of tremor, and just tie bleed count gain to the tremor burst. Bleed as it is right now is one of the status effects with the highest DPR. It does not need to directly scale with tremor itself. If tremor wants to have a tie-in with bleed, it should support bleed itself. Another solution, if you don't like that one, is make hemorrhage spend bleed potency rather than count. Maximum of 20 potency multiplicative by 2 times the potency spent for a maximum of 40 damage on burst, while additionally scaling off tremor for damage, tremor potency applied flat for a max of 59 damage, meaning you still can get the 99 damage on tremor burst. However, it still gives a use to bleed potency appliers and amplifies the usage of the entire team in a way that's both balanced and strong. Corp Heathcliff. Just let him fucking reload. Yeah, that's all I got. Any IDs you want to see buffed? How would you buff them? Let me know. Have a good day. Be good people.